Let's take you back now to this conversation around the Eldorado Park area where we saw a community in protest there calling for action when it comes to issues around crime. They talk about how drugs are a serious concern in the community. And if you've been following the stories of Eldorado Park, you'll know that these are not new calls by this particular community. Let's speak to Dereleen James, founder of the Yellow Ribbon Foundation. Dereleen, thank you so much for your time. Give us an update of where things stand with the protest.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, and greetings to our viewers. At the moment, we are out in Extension 1 at the flats, one of the hot spots. The community is actually driving around. We have a coffin here. We have a hearse here, symbolic of our reality in our community. So we've gone past all the flats where these incidents has been happening. The most recent one was Monday morning in broad daylight at 10 o'clock. Prior that was Saturday when 2 young boys were gunned down. Also in broad daylight, 18 gun holes in each body, over 18. Monday, over more than 9 gunshots in this body. So the previous week we had 13 people that was also gunned down, a few fatalities. And this has been an ongoing situation in our community.
And what has been the response from the community as you are staging this protest, the symbolism of the coffin and, the symbolism of the hearse as well that is with you?
As we were driving, it was actually quite emotional now as we passed Willowmore Flats, where the community has been tormented. The older people there and the kids, as we drove past, they were waving, they were clapping hands, people were crying and breaking down. And that to me is just basically, how people are tormented by this. And everybody's anxious. Last night as we were driving through the community, it was so quiet. There wasn't a single soul out on the streets. And this was around 10 o'clock. We're also sleeping out since Monday. We've set up camp at the police station, and that's where we're sleeping, all of us. All community leaders, all stakeholders, we're there, all political parties. We are sleeping there, we are staying there until they address our concerns from an integrated approach perspective.
Now, Dereleen, there have been promises that were made as we were taking, some of what you were saying to the National Police Commissioner live here on the show. He made some promises and even promising around the meetings and looking at some of the issues and calling on the community to report some of the incidents as the community was highlighting the dangers that come with this. Are you hopeful that once and for all these issues will be addressed now?
No, we're not hopeful. After a decade, the president was here in 2013. So understand the fact that we no longer have trust in any of the departments. And we didn't wake up feeling like this. This is as a result of the ongoing empty promises, or when we are promised interventions, it is short-lived. It is short-lived. It is made by one department. SABC will embark on an operation, but justice won't be involved, NPA. So they'll have dozens of arrests, and days later, all the people are released again. So we cannot have an approach where just one department responds. We need justice, we need SARS, we need Asset and Forfeiture Unit, we need DSD, we need all departments to respond according to the National Drug Master Plan. And that is the approach that we are calling on.
And Dereleen, for someone who, may not even be aware, as you take us back in time, you wrote to then President Jacob Zuma an impassioned letter which saw him go straight to Eldorado Park to try and deal with what exactly was going on there at the time. I wonder, fast forward to now, you talk about how difficult it is and the community is not even trusting. What, for you, is the stumbling block? Is there no will to address this, or is there something else that we are not seeing at play here?
You know what, we almost, and even doing this interview, because people are saying, we're giving our community such a bad reputation. Everyone is of the opinion that us colored people, we are drugs and alcohol and gangs. And that is not the situation. Eldorado Park, and not just Eldorado Park, right? We are basically symbolic. We as a result of government's inability to protect and serve our communities. This is why we are here. I mean, years ago we said we don't want to get to a point where we resemble Cape Town, the Cape Flats, and we are there now. We are there now where kids are carrying guns to school. We have teachers ducking for their lives during contact time. We have bullets flying during midday, 10 o'clock in the morning, for weeks on end. Weeks on end. Our streets are as dark as ever in this community. So starting from local government, the mayor, to provincial, to national, I'm not even sure where I can say, okay, this sphere of government is actually serving our community. It's as if a wall has been built around Eldorado Park and they have said, let them rot in that community.
All right, Dereleen, we'll catch up with you a little later on and see, as this protest progresses, and see if in some of these interventions that the National Police Commissioner announced are in fact coming into play. And as you say, bullets and really guns ringing during break time. This is something that is horrific and traumatic for some of the learners. But let's check in with you a little later on. Thank you so much for your time. That was Dereleen James, founder of the Yellow Ribbon Foundation.